Now, we've all seen the memes, by the way, the dress that looks designer on the website but arrived looking like a costume for your traditional day out at secondary school. The sleek shoes that turned out to be plastic slippers. Well, you're not Cinderella, by the way. The blender that barely blends what once felt like minor online inconveniences have now ballooned into something much bigger. A growing number of Nigerians are finding themselves victims of misleading advertising, counterfeit goods, and also flat-out online scams. And as e-commerce continues to boom across Africa, so the complaints from frustrated customers whose expectations are repeatedly crushed by subpar deliveries.
It's the digital equivalent of buying a dream and receiving a disaster. It's left many wondering whether consumer protection laws are keeping up with the times. Now, here to break down this consumer crisis is News Central's Chamun, Dabeng, who's been speaking with victims and also regulators. She also put out a report on this, so we're going to be taking a look at that report now.
In a world where impulse buying is king, several of the victims of this crime were innocent online shoppers looking for clothing, apparel, or that last bit of home decor to tie the living room together, only to be met by the shocker of their lives when what they ordered looked nothing like what they got. Victim Christabel says her trust has been shattered beyond repair as her tailor delivered a dress that brought her to tears, while victim Karen says she was left bamboozled when what she thought was a luxury wig turned out to be a sponge with strands.
I gave you this material. The material was so expensive, and I told you what I wanted, and this was what you made for me. I cried from his shop to the house. Like, I have never cried like that. Even when, like, I was having serious heartbreak, I did not cry like that.
The main wig was my breast started and we began to comb the wig, and the wig was shredding. Like, just immediately, breast start of that, it was shredding. It was shredding so bad, and it was very, very strong. A wig for 560,000 was not supposed to be like that.
However, not every victim takes things lying down. Some have been known to fight back and succeed.
I started putting her on my Instagram story and asking her to refund us our money because we are giving her back her hair. She had acknowledged that she has received the hair. Throughout that evening and that night, people were dragging them on TikTok, posting her business everywhere, posting her face too. So the next day, I ever started passing and told me that she's going to send me the money, that she please take down the post. I said I'm not going to take down the post anymore. Because the first time we made an agreement, she went behind my back and wants to post bad things about me. So I think by 2 p.m. the afternoon, I got my money in full.
As ridiculous as it may seem, the rampant nature of these criminal activities being perpetuated by self-acclaimed entrepreneurs shows a glaring gap in the ethics and values of business.
A lot of Nigerians are shopping abroad, sending the scarce forest reserve, or better say the scarce effects that we have to other nations. If you're buying from every other place, you get good packaging, you get treated right, you have to monitor when your goods are coming in, you know. And so when this continues to happen, the true people or the people who want to make a difference, they get short of the market. People no longer trust, people take the business somewhere else where they are not participating.
As social media continues to amplify the what I ordered versus what I got trend, one thing is clear: behind every viral laugh is a serious call for transparency, accountability, and better consumer protection.
From shimmering fantasies to fabric fiascos, few things sting quite like the heartbreak of unboxing an item you've waited weeks for, only to discover reality was having a laugh at your expense. In a world of polished ads and clearance sales, it's clear that integrity outlasts a quick sale. If today's misadventures taught us anything, it's this: never let a polished photo fool you. For News Central Lagos, from the heart of heartaches and polyester disappointments, I am Chamun, Dabeng.
Interesting report there, and we do have Chamun Dabeng in the studio here with us. Chamun, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Welcome.
We'll keep you on pause. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be entering into that conversation. Once again, following that report by News Central correspondent Chamun Dabeng, what I ordered versus what I got. Chamun Dabeng is in the studio here with us today. Ladies, I'm going to leave this to you two because before we came on, Judith actually said something. And since it's going to be like that, I'm going to let you guys talk about it.
What are you talking about?
She said that's what Lagos men are like. What I ordered versus what I got.
I was like, no.
That's what most men are like. It's not
But that's not the conversation.
But it was a joke now. But it was a tongue-in-cheek joke.
It's a good joke, though.
Yeah, thank you. I do my best. But I mean, one of the things that I found interesting about your report was, not just what I ordered versus what I got in terms of online orders, but also on services as well. Yep. And so one has to ask the question about whether the CPC, which is the Consumer Protection Commission, has factored that into place in terms of service providers under the umbrella, in terms of checking them in that.
Even if it's something that has been put in place, a lot of Nigerians are blindly unaware of that situation. And even when they do put certain things in place, getting it in order and getting things done is usually a hassle.
Right.
So for a lot of Nigerians, they rather just backtrack, live with the fact that, you know what, I've been fooled here, I've been bamboozled, and they will take whatever it is that they've been given and just drop it somewhere and bring it out whenever they want to remember the fact that, yes, I should not be bamboozled again. And but yes, we do have certain bodies that have been put in place to make sure that services and products that are being delivered to Nigerians are actually, quality services and quality products. We have SON, we have the consumer protection as well. But how much are we really seeing? Are they really doing enough awareness for Nigerians to know that, yes, we are actually here to protect you and get you what you need? I remember when I was trying to do the report, I reached out to somebody at Standards Organization of Nigeria, and the first thing she asked me was, are you a victim? Before I went on to explain that, no, I'm not a victim. I'm trying to, speak to you guys and find out what you guys are doing to make sure that this does not continue. Even though we weren't able to actually get the interview, but nonetheless, it was nice to see that the first thing she asked me was, are you a victim?
If you had pretended to be a victim, what do you think would have happened?
I'm guessing the discussion would have
been different.
Longer, would have been very different.
And that's the part that I want to find, that I think that, as you rightfully put, the part of awareness is still very much lagging, but there's also the part of seeing it through to the end in terms of if I lay my complaint at you,
it should be an
easy process. But that's the thing about all of Nigeria's civil services, right? That bureaucracy, that red taping, the lengthy process to get things done. Do you think that's also part of a deterrent where Nigerians will be like, oh, if I go there, it's not the same thing. What are the odds?
It's what I said at the beginning. Most Nigerians would rather just not go through the process. And it's why so many people have created loopholes. Use money to get a lot of things done in Nigeria these days. When you're trying to get your international passport, you're trying to get your driver's license. They would rather just circumvent any other process and please just let me take the picture.
Every time I go to the passport office, I put on my press tag.
No, that's a good
one.
Let it through. But the thing is, you guys have just noted very interesting things here. 3, on the part about loopholes. The loopholes don't just exist when you're trying to get things done. It also exists when you're trying to get resolved from after being a victim. Only just recently, some lady went up on social media and started calling out a hair designer for 30 days, which went awry at the end of the day, because that's another story we might tell at the end of this report, at the end of this conversation. But then I wanted to tell that you are correct. There was an instance where I actually found myself being left alone. These guys were giving poor services, and when I complained, every other person I expected to complain with me didn't. They were like, oh God, now Nigeria.
That one is
you don't know where
you don't know where you did.
Have we been so abused that this is how we simply just take these things? Like, okay. The other thing I was going to ask you, Chamun, was, now do these agencies, the CPC, SON, do they have like soldiers, foot soldiers, who actually are involved in trying to take care of these victims that do come up to them? Or is it left to the police?
I don't really see the police involved in situations like this, unless you go directly to them to report the case. And even at that, we've heard situations from victims, saying that they had to drop something.
put a little something, slide it across the table to,
So isn't that in itself a
jump-started.
problem?
It's
If
a
these
huge problem.
bodies exist and they don't have their own machinery to actually go about and take care of these instances that are brought to their tables.
I believe that consumer protection does have its own machinery. I'm not that sure about standard SON, because I do remember a situation where certain supermarkets in Abuja were closed down because they were selling products at a very high markup. So they were shut down till they could get their pricing right and sell at better prices. So I am aware of those situations on that area, but as far as SON, not so much. Not so much that I've seen.
Do you think by now the CPC should have a chapter for Nigerian tailors?
No.
See, look, they need to have a chapter for Nigerian tailors, Nigerian mechanics, Nigerian electricians, Nigerian artisans in general. There needs to be a specific chapter. Honestly, I feel like there should be like 100,000 naira fine or like a jail term.
No. Have you seen the dresses they make on Lekki? There should be particular ones for those on the island and one for the mainland. If you're on Lekki, servicing those on Lekki via Ikoyi, there should be a particular chapter for you, because them persons over there are paying like over 500, half a mil on a dress. And you're telling me if my dress isn't ready? Nah, you're going to sleep in jail.
It's not even just about it not being ready. It's the fact that it looks like the tailor down the street. That made it, as opposed to jail.
So let's talk about an instance that got social media's attention. A lady only recently came out to tell that she had been, she was a victim. She had paid for something and got something totally different. She didn't go the route which you are suggesting now, SON or CPC. She went on social media herself to try and get action. And she called out the the merchant. She called out the merchant for 30 days. I don't know what happened, but it seems to have flipped, because the next video we were seeing on social media was of the police arresting her, which brings back why I asked if the police are supposed to be absolutely involved in these processes that have these agencies like SON and CPC.
All right, so when it comes to Nigerian police, I will say this: there needs to be some overhaul of their, processes, because it doesn't make any sense for you to walk up to an officer and say, please go and arrest this person. Here's 50,000 naira. That should be completely legal. I believe that there should be prosecution held against such officers, because I followed her story from the beginning of, the calling out, when she came on social media, when she was running on the market streets of Lagos and calling out
Very
the particular hair vendor, and only for the same hair vendor to eventually be the one to eventually arrest her as well. So from the gist of it that I got was an issue of her not returning the wig as of when she was supposed to. Some people defended her, saying that because the hair vendor took so long to return the money, to return the money, then she has every right to take her time to return the wig whenever it is that she's ready and whenever it is that's convenient. But nonetheless, it has to be illegal for officers to do such things. Because sometimes it's a very unjust arrest.
Right.
When you look deeper into the story and you're wondering, what exactly did this person do?
Because you can buy power with money in Nigeria.
Exactly. And
money is power.
Yes.
Right. As the e-commerce booms in Nigeria, and as impulsive buying, which I love the opening of your report, as impulse buying becomes to widen and everyone can get things at the click of the finger, do you think that the CPC, the SON, and every other agencies are well equipped to handle that boom?
Oh no. Oh no, because it's such a large scale, and even if it was at a smaller scale as where we are now, it's quite huge. But even at a smaller scale, it's very difficult to regulate that Instagram, social media, TikTok space, keep up with all those transactions.
Because that's where the e-commerce is happening now. It's not happening on apps.
It's not websites.
It's not websites. It's actually social media.
Yes, it's social media that it's being sold on. So, you have to talk about tracking these people down to make sure that they are being held accountable for their own actions. So I believe that there are other players that could come in. I believe that there was a time where you could report to your bank if you were scammed.
Right.
And they'll probably freeze the account and, take a few steps. So I think that simplifying these processes and, making it known to Nigerians that these things are available for you, and making sure that the individual is actually being punished. Because the issue is accountability. The issue is entrepreneurial integrity.
which you don't see a lot of these days. Because you have, for example, hair vendors selling hair. They'll tell you, oh, this is luxury, this is lush, this is this, and then...
Ah, favorite word, luxury.
Yes, we love the word luxury in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, they're selling you a sponge with strands, like I said.
Yeah.
And it's a very big problem because people are spending hundreds of thousands of naira, even into the millions, to buy this. It's fraud. If you look at it, and fraud is punishable by law. So why are they not being punished?
Can consumers be guarded against the vendors? Because I mean, when it's website, you can read through the fine prints, you know. But now that social media comes into play, it has sort of blurred the lines.
It's at
as
your
well.
risk. It's at your risk. I mean,
so you can't.
The truth is, I see it as it's at your risk. If you're going to endeavor in these kinds of purchases, know that this is risky, and especially that these people ask you to pay first and get the service after. We can only deliver it after you've paid. Why?
No, you can't even pay on delivery.
Why? I have to see it first. And
so
those are some of the regulations that it's going to be very difficult. It is.
Then what would you advise consumers then?
Well, you have to do your due diligence.
Exactly.
You really do need to do your due diligence. Using myself as an example, before I buy anything off of Instagram, I usually go through the comments and I look for people that I know have actually purchased the dress or purchased the hair, and I ask them, please, what was the quality of what you purchased? You know, and they'll give you the information, but you still have to be careful because sometimes it's their friend.
Exactly.
So you need to be careful.
That's exactly. Listen, Chamun, it was an interesting report. We loved it, and that's why we had to bring you on the show to discuss more robustly on it. But it also felt like as if it was from personal experience, and from speaking here, I can see that. So I have to ask the two of you because she's rather passionate herself about this. So, ladies, both your hairs, was it what you ordered?
Of course.
Oh no, there's one time that it was not what I ordered.
Well, this one particular was what you ordered.
But this one was what I ordered.
Let's leave it there.
But, I was the brain fart, the lost it. It came in my ear. I forgot what I want to say. Forgive me.
Well, I think we should end it here because we have the news coming up at the top of the hour. Chamun Dabeng, thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning.